split up the sprite sheet into parts to make it look animated. We're going to go into the Sprite class. And in the Sprite class, we want to draw the bitmap. When you draw a bitmap, there's a part that says, hey, you can tell me the source or the picture or the part of the picture you want to draw. For example, here, I want to draw just this part. Okay, it's hard to see. But let's go with the example that I give you with the classy one is 4x4. Let me go download it real quick. Blackboard, blue jeans. So here's the one we will use. Save image as. Downloads. Blue jeans. In this case, whatever this width is divided by 4 will give me the width of one of these. Whatever the height of this bitmap is divided by 4 will give me the height of one character. So I know it's 1/4, 1/4. So in this case, this one's nice and easy to do. And then when you do row 0, that's this corner right here, you'll get the walking at you or walking down animation. At row 1, you'll get the walking left. Row 2, you'll get walking right. And row 3 will be walking away from you. Like sometimes when your parents get you mad and you just walk away from them. This source right here will have to show us one part of that picture. What we have to do is make a rectangle around this area that we want to print. This is going to be our source X and Y. That's this top left corner, 0, 0 for this row. And then we need to know how wide will it be and how high will it be. Well, I did that calculation here by saying, hey, bitmap, how big are you? Divided by the number of columns. It's a constant I made in the beginning, where in my sprite sheet, it's going to be a 4x4. I made rows and columns 4x4. Down here, I go, that's my icon width, that's my icon height. And then I need a current frame. The first frame will be at 0. Then it'll go to 1. 1 times the width will put us here. And then 2 times the width will put us here. 3 times the width will put us here. And then it'll use modular division to go back to 0. And it just cycles through these 4 images really fast. And to you, for the human eye, it'll look like she's moving and waving her arms. That's the current frame, and we'll have to increment it somewhere. It's not incrementing here. Usually we'll do that inside the update method, which I don't see. Where's my update method? Must be hidden in here. No? Maybe I haven't gotten that far in the code yet. Maybe it's in here. There's my update method. In here, I have movement and bouncing and so forth. But in order to make this animation work, I would have to increment my picture here. Now, if I got lazy, I could also increment this and just said, hey, every time you draw, you're going to draw a different frame. Then I need to decide which direction am I moving, up, down, left, right. So I need to decide which row of these I'm going to print. And so I use a series of greater than, less thans. And first I want to figure, is it moving more in the X direction or more in the Y direction? And I can just use the absolute values of my dx and dy to see who's bigger. If the X is bigger, then it's got to be a left or right motion. If dy is bigger, then it's going to be an up or down motion. And then I say, well, the Y is positive, right? This is if its absolute value is equal to dy, then that means it's positive because the absolute value of a positive is a positive. This basically says if it's positive, then it's going to really be moving down because in Android, getting a bigger Y is moving downwards. And so it's going to return the down constant. And for all practical purposes, the down constant is 0. And I set that at the beginning. Here, I said down is 0. And then row 1 is moving to the left, row 2 is moving to the right, row 3 is moving up. and that correlates to row 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's how we will go through the display and give you separate sprites off the same sprite sheet. This is the whole bitmap. This shows you which part of the bitmap you're going to display, and then you're going to say, where do you want this picture? And I'm going to say, put it on myself. So wherever the sprite is, it will squeeze the bitmap or this part of the bitmap into that space. The bigger the sprite, the more it will stretch the bitmap. If its bitmap is bigger than the sprite, then it will shrink it so it fits. It's basically in the draw bitmap method, you can specify which part of the input bitmap you want to draw, and you can specify whichever frame from the sprite sheet you want to draw. Where do you save the sprite sheet? What you do is you put it inside the drawable folder. I recommend that you choose show and explore or whatever that means on your Mac. And what that will do is bring you this folder. So you can see a drawable. For those who can't read it, that says drawable. And then underneath it, it says drawable-v24. You don't want to put it inside of v24. You want to go in here and paste your picture there. Now make sure it's all lowercase. You can use 0s through 9. You can use a dash. No other characters and definitely no capital letters. So like this one, it's IC_launcher_background. No capital letters. You can use numbers. What does getAnimationRow mean? What does this method do? This method just says, hey, look at your speed and mostly which is the predominant direction. You have X speed and a Y speed. It's horizontals, that's up or down, left or right. Now, between the X and the Y, it first decides which one's bigger. Is the X bigger or the Y bigger? If the X is bigger, whether it's positive or negative, so if the scalar number is bigger, then it's going to be moving left or right. If the scalar number for dx is smaller, then it's going to be moving up or down. It's the predominant direction. It can move diagonally, but if it's more, we're trying to decide which way is more, which animation makes the most sense is what we're trying to do. Then, so that's the absolute value. Then it says, hey, if the absolute value of dx is equal to dx, so that will only happen when dx is positive. So if the absolute value of a positive number will be a positive number, therefore they equal to each other. So that's my quick cheat way of saying, hey, if it's positive, then it's going to go to the right. So if dx is positive, it's the bigger of the two speeds, then it's going to be predominantly to the right, even if it's diagonal up or diagonal down. So then I'm going to return right, and therefore it will return row 2. And so when it comes up here, 2 times icon height. Remember, icon height is this much. 0 times icon height will give you this first row. 1 times icon height will be 1 icon height away. It'll be right here. It'll start drawing the rectangle right there. 2 icon height will draw this one. 3 icon height, that's 1 icon height, 2 icon height, 3 icon height. It'll be right here. getAnimationRow returns the appropriate row for left, right, up, or down. That is the dominant movement. That way, it can move. Now, oftentimes, because if your animation doesn't really change its X and Y speed, it just flips positive and negative, then it's going to be stuck between up and down or left and right, unless you do some randomness into it where the dx can grow and shrink, and same with the dy. That way, they can maybe have more directions. Now, some students put a control pad at the bottom so they can hit up, down, left, right. And in that case, once they hit the left button, they should set the direction right here to be left. So make that into a variable. So when they hit the right button, it automatically turns this to whatever the appropriate direction for right is. I've forgotten already. Right is 2. So it would set it to 2. This one is just for bouncing, but if you have a control pad and you're steering it, then you can be more specific about which row to go to. Mine is just based on, hey, based on your speed, which one makes the most sense?